my iPad downloaded.
If you cannot, I mean, I can share my screen with you so you can see the course here.
It's okay, teacher. No problem.
Okay, would you please start reading?
Okay. The typhoon had passed and the sky was a gorgeous blue. Even a certain village not far from the city has suffered damage. A little distance from the village and near the mountains, a small shrine has been swept away by the landslide. I wonder how long the shrine's been there. Well, in my case, it must have been there since an awfully
Mohammed,
long
Khalid,
time ago.
Mohammed,
Yes?
you skip the background.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's important. You need to read it.
Okay. Each year, the world generates billions of tons of waste. Much of that waste is deposited in landfills, where heavy metals and toxins can leak into the environment. The oceans have also been polluted with vast amounts of trash because of many decades. It was common practice to get rid of chemicals, garbage, and even nuclear waste by dumping them directly into the ocean. The typhoon had passed and the sky was a gorgeous blue. Even a certain village not far from the city has suffered damage. A little distance from the village and near the mountains, a small shrine has been swept away by a landslide. I wonder how long that shrine has been there. Well, in my case,
Here.
it must have been there since an awfully long time ago. We've got to rebuild it right away. While the villagers exchanged views, several more of their number came over. I'm sure it was wrecked. I think it used to be right here. No, looks like it was a little more over there. Just then, one of them raised his voice. Hey, in what of the, in hey, what in the world is this hole?
Hold on, please. Yes, please carry on.
Where they all gathered, there was a hole about a meter in diameter. They peered in, but it was so dark nothing could be seen. However, it gave one the feeling that it was so deep it went clear to the center of the earth. There was even one person who said, I wonder if it's a fox's hole. Hey, come on out, shouted the young man into the hole. There was no echo from the bottom. Next, he picked up a pebble and was about to throw it in. You might bring down a curse on us. Lay off, warned an old man. But the younger one
Energetically.
energetically threw a pebble in. As before, however, there was no answering response from the bottom. The villagers cut down some trees, tied them to the rope, and made a fence which they pulled around the hole. Then they repaired to the village. What do you suppose we ought to do? Shouldn't we build the shrine up just as it was over the hole? A day passed with no agreement. The news traveled fast, and the car from the newspaper company rushed over. In no time, a scientist came out, and with an all-knowing expression on his face, he went over to the hole. Next, a bunch of gawking curiosity seekers showed up. One who could also pick out here and there men of appear to be conscientious, concerned that someone conscientious, concerned that someone might fall into the hole. A policeman from the local substation kept a
Substation.
careful watch. Substation kept a careful watch. One newspaper reporter tied a weight to the end of the long cord and lowered it into the hole. A long way down it went. The cord ran out, however, and he tried to pull it out, but it would not come back up. Two or three people helped out, but pulled o- when they all pulled too hard, the cord parted at the edge of the hole. Another reporter, too hard. Another reporter, where am I? A camera in hand, who had been watching all of this quietly untied a stout rope and had been wound around his waist. The scientist contacted people at his laboratory, and he had them bring out a high-powered bullhorn with which he was going to shake out the echo from the hole's bottom. He tried switching through various sounds, but there was no echo. The scientist was puzzled, but he could not very well give up with everyone watching him so intently. He pulled the bullhorn right up to the hole, turned it to the highest volume, and let it sound continuously for a long time. It was a noise that would have carried several dozen kilometers above the ground, but the hole just calmly swallowed up the sound. In his own mind, the scientist was at loss, but with a look of apparent composure, he cut off the sound and, in a manner suggesting that the
Suggesting.
whole thing had a perfectly plausible explanation, said simply, "Fill it in." Safer to get rid of something one didn't understand. The onlooker, disappointed that this was all that was going on to happen, prepared
Wait, Muhammad,
to.
wait. Hold on, please. Good morning, Muhammad. Welcome. Carry on, Muhammad.
Prepared to disperse. Just then, one of the concessionaires, having broken through the throng and come forward, made a proposal. "Let me have that hole. I'll fill it in for you." "We'd be grateful to you for filling it in," replied the mayor of the village, "but we can't very well give you the hole. We have to build a shrine here. There. If it's a shrine you want, I'll build you a fine one later. Shall I make it with an attached meeting hall?" Before the mayor could answer, the people of the village all shouted, "Really? Well, in the case, we ought to have it closer to the village. It's just an old hole. We'll give it to you." So it was settled, and the mayor, of course, had no objection. The concessionary was true to his promise. It was small, but closer to the village. He did build for them a shrine with an attached meeting hall. About the time of the autumn festival was held at the new shrine. The whole filling company established by the concessionaire hung out
By the
its
concessionaire hangout.
concessionaire hung out its small shingle at a shack near the hall. The concessionaire had his charts.
Concessionaire. It is concessionaire.
Concessionaire had his cohorts mount a loud campaign in the city. "We've got a fabulously deep hole. Scientists say it's at least 5,000 meters deep, perfect for the disposal of such things as waste from nuclear reactions. Government authorities granted permission. Nuclear power plants fought for contracts. The people of the village were a bit worried about this, but they consented when it was explained that there would be absolutely no above ground contamination for several thousand years, and they would share in the profits into the bargain. Very shortly, a magnificent road was built from the city to the village. Trucks roared in other the road, transporting lead boxes. Above the holes, the lids were opened, and the waste from nuclear reactors tumbled away into the hole. From the Foreign Ministry and the defense, boxes of unnecessary classified documents were bought for disposal. Officials who came to supervise disposal held discussions on the Gulf. The, the leisure functionaries,
Functionaries.
as they threw in the papers, chatted about pinball. The hole showed no signs of filling up. It was awfully deep, though some, or else it might be very spacious at the bottom. Little by little, the whole filling company expanded its business. Bodies of animals used in contagious disease experiments at the universities were brought out, and to these were added to the unclaimed corpses of vagrants. better than dumping all of its garbage into the ocean.
No, it's not,
When
yeah. Mhm.
when went the thinking in the city, the plans were made for Long Pipe to carry it to the hole. The hole gave peace of mind to the dwellers of the city. They concentrated solely on producing one thing after another. Everything disliked thinking about the eventual consequences. People wanted only to work for production companies and sales corporations. They had no interest in becoming junk dealers. But it was though these problems too
It
would
was thought. It was
gradually be
thought. It was
was
thought.
thought these problems would gradually be resolved by the whole. Young girls whose betrothals
Betrothal.
had been arranged discarded all diaries in the hall. There were also those who were in what
Inaugurating.
inaugurating new love affairs and threw into the hall old photographs of themselves taken with former sweethearts. The police felt comforted as they used the hall to get rid of accumulations of expertly done counterfeit bills. Criminals breathed easier after throwing material evidence into the hole. Whatever one wished to discard, the hole accepted it all. The hole cleans the city of its filth. The sea and the sky seem to have become a bit cleaner than before. Aiming at the heavens, new buildings went on being constructed one after another. One day, atop the high steel frame of a new building under construction, a workman was taking a break. Above his head, he heard a voice shout, "Hey, come on out!" But in the sky to which he lifted his gaze, there was nothing at all. A clear blue sky merely spread over all. He thought it must be his imagination. Then, as he resumed his former position from the direction where the voice had come, the small pebbles skimmed by him and fell on past. The man, however, was gazing in idle reverie at
Reverie.
the city's skyline growing even more beautiful, and he failed to notice. That's
Excellent.
it.
Thank you so much. So before I ask you about the main idea, as long as the story or the that short story is really, I mean, long because it has many details inside. I'd love that I show you a level of text. We're going to read it again. If there is another volunteer who is interested to read, and then I'm going to ask you about the setting of the main idea and the setting of this short story.
Okay.
Here we have a level of text consists of 2 pages or 1 page and some lines, so it made it easier, or
Okay.
it makes it easier for you to understand perfectly.
I
Mhm.
read.
Yeah.
A typhoon, a large tropical storm, comes to a village by the mountains. After the storm, villagers notice a shrine was swept away during the storm. No one knows how long it had been there. Then the villagers see the hole nearby. They cannot
Hold
see
on, please. There
anything
is
in the
someone
hole.
who wants me to admit him.
Okay.
Hello, Hisham Sanad. You are too early for the period. So,
Um, the villagers see a hole nearby. They cannot see anything in the hole except darkness. Hey, into the hole. There was no echo from the bottom. Next, he picked up a pebble and was about to throw it in. "You might bring down a curse on us. Lay off," warned the old man. But the younger one inter- in- energetically threw up the pebble in. They heard
energetically comes from energy.
energetically. energetically through the pebble in. They hear nothing. They cannot agree about what to do with the hole. Reporters and other curious people came to see the hole. A scientist examines it. He makes sounds in the hole to check for an echo, but no sound comes back. In his own mind, the scientist was at a loss, but with a look of apparent composure, he cut off the sound and in a manner suggesting that the whole thing had perfectly plausible explanation. Said simply, fill it in. Safer to get rid of something one didn't understand. A businessman wants the hole and says he would fill it in. The mayor of the village is concerned as a shrine is supposed to be over the hole. So the businessman builds a shrine and a meeting hall closer to the village. He keeps the hole for himself. His company campaigns for people to throw things into the hole. We got a fabulously deep hole. Scientists say it's at least 5,000 meters deep, perfect for disposal of such things as waste from nuclear reactors. The village are worried about polluting the earth, but the businessman tells them that there will be no effects for thousands of years. The government disposes papers with classified information in the hole. Dead animals used in experiments are thrown in the hole. Everyone in the village throws away things from their past. Criminals throw away evidence from their wrongdoing. No one thinks about the consequences of their actions. They are just happy that the hole resolved their problems. And the hole seems like it will never fill up. Whatever one wished to discard, the hole accepted it all. The hole cleans the city of its filth. The sea and the sky seem to have become a bit cleaner than before. One day, atop the high steel frame of a new building under construction, a workman was taking a break above his head. He heard a voice shout, "Hey, come on out!" He looks around and does not see anything. When he stops, a pebble flies by him, but he's too busy admiring the city's growing skyline to notice.
Excellent, very good, Mohammed. Thank you so much for your effort.
You're welcome.
And now, after you have read the story, let's say twice, because first you read the original one, then the accessible level of text, which made it easier for you, or maybe clearer in your mind. What is this story talking about? What is the main idea, and what is the setting of the story?
Yep. First of all, the story is about a hole they found. It was
Where exactly? So, first of all, let us talk about the setting of the story. So, did they mention any name of a city, any particular city?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Yeah, so the story is set in a nameless village near a nameless city. So they did not mention the city, they did not mention the village. I mean their names. So here it is something. So what does this evoke as a reader, as you are a reader? So when you learn or when you read this story with nameless. So when the writer was talking, or when the writer was, the author was talking, so he said just the villagers and the city. So this gives the city and the village a symbolic meaning. Not so because here he's talking. So you remember the story, that one which is called A Silent Spring.
Yes, yes. I
So the
remember that.
author said at the end of the story that this is not a realistic story. I mean, it is not true, it did not happen, but it might happen at any place
Any
or in
moment.
place in the world. The same thing here. So the author did that on purpose. He did not mention the name of the city and the village because this might happen
To
to any
anyone.
or in any area in this world. Yes, please carry on. Tell me about
Um,
what happened exactly.
there was a hole they found. They thought it was
How did they
some.
find that hole?
They ran past it.
There was something that happened that revealed that hole. So first, in the village, there was no hole, but there was, like a hurricane, like a very strong storm.
A shrine, I remember.
Yeah, that swept away a shrine, and under the shrine they found
hole.
they found that hole. So the typhoon, it means a very strong storm. So the typhoon erupted the shrine, and under the shrine they found a hole.
The hole.
Mhm.
Then the scientists came to see if there was any living thing. They put it was like the sound to see if they hear the echo, but they didn't hear anything. So then a businessman came, and he said that I will take this shrine and put what did he say?
So
I'll put something.
there were many viewpoints. So there were the viewpoint of the mayor, there were the viewpoint of the villagers, there was the viewpoint of the businessman, of the scientist. So there were many viewpoints. Each one of them is concerned about his own interest. You see, so because the businessman, after all, he is a businessman. So all what he is concerned about is his benefit.
Yep.
Or the scientist, when he did not find an answer for the absence of echo, when he tried to find whether there is an echo in the hole, and he tried many volumes after he called his assistants who brought that machine in order to test the echoes in the hole, or the echo in the hole. So he brought about, or he just suggested a solution for the problem, but was he really convinced that this is the main? Because he said here, wait a minute, yeah. So in his own mind, the scientist was at a loss. So did he find an answer for the cause, or for what is that hole?
No.
No. So what was his answer? He said simply fill it in. So
Put
it is a
the
safe way.
garbage.
Yeah, it is a safe way to get rid of something that you don't understand. So if you sometimes if you don't understand something, so you try to veer away from the the answer, and you bring about an answer that is not logic. So he said to them, fill it in. And what was the reaction after all? What happened to the hole?
It was filled in with garbage, nuclear reactors. It was
Excellent.
filled with pic photos. It was filled with criminal
So
like
the author
evidence.
here speaks ironically about these things, because he tried to mention he said here criminals throw away evidence of their wrongdoing, and everyone in the village throws away things from their past. So people try to hide all crimes that they committed, or all wrongdoings that they committed in their past. So what do you think? Did the villagers, or did the ones who are in charge took the right decision to fill the hole with all that garbage?
Like what do you mean by that?
Did the ones who are in charge, the ones who are responsible in that particular village, in that particular city, did
Yes.
well, or did the right thing when they decided to throw everything in that hole in order to clean the city?
No, no, no.
Yeah,
No, it
because the
wasn't the
writer
right
made a
thing.
contrast. He said he was describing the sky has become blue and everything was clear and perfect. But does this mean that they have done the right thing?
No.
No, they did not do the right thing, because after all, so all the chemicals and everything that can be dangerous and damaging to the environment is thrown there. Someday it will be filled, and the ones who are the first, or the people who are the first ones to,
Responsible.
not only responsible, but the ones who are going to be impacted first are those people who threw everything there. Okay, anyhow, so now it is 4:01. So I wish you
Thank you
happy
very much.
Iftar and happy Ramadan, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you.